Welcome back to the next episode of Hillbilly Storytime, Pentest Fails, with me, Adam Compton. I'll be your storyteller again today. Hope everybody enjoyed the guest speaker we had last time. We will have more of those coming down the road. Hopefully the next episode will be another guest speaker. But today we're going back to our standard stories and with me being your storyteller. So today let's go ahead and get the intro out of the way. As always, all the stories and situations that we'll be telling are true. Names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent. Today we're going to be talking about a little story about the team going on an international tour, a couple locations, and some of the issues they encountered while they're traveling. Not necessarily anything on their fault, necessarily. Well, one of them is in particular, but you'll find out when we're getting into the story here. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yeah, here. Once upon a time, there was a company called Acme. Acme hired Cheap Pentest or us to perform a on-site assessment for them at 2 of their international locations. For this engagement, due to the size and scope, Cheap Pentest or us chose to have 3 people go on site. As always, it was Charles Ray, Billy Bob, and John Boy. Our standard crew that have been in all these stories for the most part. So they got all their stuff together to go out of the country, make sure they had their passports, all of that. They were all excited about it. None of them had really been out of the country before, other than maybe like for spring break, but no one's counting that. So here they go. They got ready, and they headed off for the first location. First location was in a third world country that is ruled by not so nice of a dictatorship, militia, guerrillas, things of that nature. Just sort of a warlord sort of area there. So they arrive on site. They get off the plane. They go to collect their luggage, and they're getting ready to go through customs. Well, while they decided to go on this trip, they had an external box they wanted to take with them that they were going to hook up onto the network and to help collect data, things of that nature while they're doing their testing. Problem is, well, for us, it isn't really a problem. It's just a computer. The CPU, computer, memory, all that part of it. No monitor, no keyboard. It's just a little box. Think of it sort of like a Raspberry Pi or a Nuke, something like that. It's a little custom-built one, though. So they arrive, they're getting ready to go through customs, and they designated John Boy to be the one to carry this because, well, he was the most junior, and they're like, hey, you carry this. So the rest of them don't have to. Well, they get up there, the first 2 go through, no problem at all. They show their paperwork, they're through. Third one, John Boy, gets his gear, starts to go through, and they're like, whoa, something's wrong here. What is that? You're not allowed to bring equipment in here. He's like, it's just a computer. They're like, no, that's something else. Computers have keyboards and monitors. He's like, this is one. It just doesn't have a keyboard or monitor. It doesn't need it. It hooks into the network. Well, lots of confusion later and lots of back and forth. They finally decided, we will let you go through customs with this if you pay us X amount of dollars. Well, whatever their currency was. Unfortunately, John Boy doesn't have any of that currency. All he has is U.S. money. He doesn't have their local currency. And he doesn't have anybody there with him. Their point of contact is on the other side of security, waiting for them. After a few tense moments, they actually eventually allowed their point of contact to come across security to help out, to help straighten this out. Turns out that he actually did have some of that local currency. He lives there. So he provides them with what they asked for. They weren't happy with it. They said it wasn't clean. It wasn't crisp. So he had to switch through, find someone who has a nice crisp bill of their choosing, provided it to them, finally got to go through security, and they were on site for the next several days. Turns out that all they were asking for was about $20 US. Not a big deal, but it is if you don't happen to have any of their currency and you are the one stuck going through customs and immigration with a device that that particular country views as dangerous or unnecessary, or they just want to get a bribe out of you. It's all it wasn't really nothing of his fault there. It's just the way this country welcomes people into their country for the most part. Well, they're on site. They do their work for several days there. They were told not to take pictures of government buildings. So they asked which buildings are government buildings. They said, we don't know, so just don't take pictures of anything. So it's one of these kind of scenarios. It's a little tense the entire time. They slept in a isolated compound sort of thing. But finally, they're done. They're on their way out of the country, and they're heading out. And this is when Charles Ray's experience comes into play a little bit. They're going through, they're getting ready to board the plane. Right before that, they have to put their luggage through the metal detector and everything. And in doing so, the people manning the metal detector looks down at it and says, whoa, you can't go out with this. He goes, what do you mean? It's just my shirts. It was his garment bag. He had it all rolled up and going through. He's like, no, you can't go out the country with this. He goes, what's the matter? They said, open it up. So he opens it up, and they start pointing at his coat hangers. Okay, if they're metal coat hangers, I can understand, but no, they were plastic coat hangers. They demanded that he remove the plastic coat hangers from his garments and hand them over. So he proceeds to do so. He had 5 in there. He gets the first 3 off, hands them over, and then he starts to get the 4th one off. They're like, no, that's okay. So he's allowed to go out with 2 of his 5 plastic coat hangers. What the reason behind this was, still doesn't know. It was just one of those scenarios that I don't know if they're just trying to show some authority there or take control of the situation, or they're just having a good laugh on his part. I don't know. He didn't know. So, well, they made it out of the country. On to their next location, which is to a country that will be left unnamed, but it is consists primarily of sand. So they arrive on site, same sort of thing. They go through customs. This time, no issue. They go off and start doing their work. They're going to be there for several days. In between work on the evenings, they're driving around the community, the town, just seeing what they can see, taking photos, things of that nature. This place is friendly to photos, so no issues there. And as they're driving along, they go out some little road, and they find an orchard, just out in the middle of nowhere. There is fences off in the distance, but not right where they are. There's just a little gate sort of area right there. That looks like you might have been part of a fence or something at one point. So they stopped there, and this orchard was figs, and they looked very ready to eat. So the guys decided to get out of the car and go and just try some of them, look at them. They had never seen a fig orchard before. So they walk over and they try one, like, this is actually really good. About that time, in the distance, down the road, they're hearing sirens going off, alarms going off. They're looking around, and now they're actually starting to notice that there's other things going on around here. That fence that was off in the distance is actually a little closer, and it has razor wire at the top of it. And there's fencing off the sides, and it's a pretty well-traveled road, and these trees are very well kept. So they start to get nervous. They head out of there quietly, get in their car, and as they're pulling away, they've actually started moving. A series of vehicles are pulling up and rushing in there, trying to figure out what's going on. They make their way on out of there, keep going. They asked their point of contact a little later what was going on there, and they come to find out that was one of the royal fig gardens that they were trespassing in, eating their fruit. So, okay, a little faux pas on their side there. Shouldn't be doing that. Should know about trespassing, all that. It happened. They didn't get incarcerated or anything because of it, but it is a very well learned lesson of no trespassing, know where you're going, and if you're in a foreign country and don't know any of the telltale signs or anything like that about what might be government or federal or private property, best to play it safe and don't go on there. Their engagement ended, they made it home, they wrote the report, handed it off, and other than just a few interesting stories to tell from it, the engagement actually went fairly well for them. But it is one of those scenarios that if you are traveling to a foreign country, as I said, try to learn their customs, try to learn at least the cursory level of it, so you're not going to really be putting your foot in your mouth or anything like that as you're talking to them or trespassing or what have you. And if you're going into a country that might sort of require bribe or something like that, talk to your point of contact beforehand. See if there's something that needs to be arranged, if they need to be meeting you a little on the inside of security or something like that with the appropriate amount of bribe or what have you. It's just one of those things. Just hopefully it never happens to anybody out there. Hopefully it doesn't happen to me. but it does happen. Just be aware of it out there. And that was our story for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this little one. It's nothing really much here, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned for the next episode. Like I said, I hope it's going to be another guest speaker. Hope you enjoyed the view from outdoors here. It's a little nicer outside today, so I thought I'd come outside and do the video. And as always, if you like the video, please hit the like button below. If you'd like to stay updated as any new videos come out, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to actually make a comment on one of my videos, please use the comment section below. If you want to request a type of video or want me to talk about something in particular like social engineering or wireless engagements or whatever the case is, please leave me a comment. And as always, thank you very much and have a great day.